Welcome to 4.0 to Pro, the pickleball podcast that focuses on a single shot, tip, or strategy to improve your pickleball game with every single pocket-sized episode. Our goal is to make you better on the court every time you hear our voices.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of 4.0 to Pro, your pocket-sized pickleball podcast, where we teach you a single shot or strategy every single episode. I'm Michael O'Neill here in sunny Long Beach, California, and I'm solo. This is a O'Neill-isode. This is a Mike-isode. Mircea is still in Romania doing some family things after the passing of his father, so we are sending him really good, positive energy as he deals with, obviously, a very terrible situation. On this end, everything is well. We are prepping for our camp in Dallas. I think we have like a spot or two left, by the way, if anybody wants to make a last-minute trip to Dallas and become better at pickleball. You should do that. 402p.com/camp. 402p.com/camp. On a personal note, I now have all of the brand new Carbon Wave paddles, and these are basically, I think their idea was when they came out with the Genesis line, they wanted to have something that was 100% going to be approved and nothing was ever going to, be something to worry about when it comes to, the paddles being approved by the sanctioning bodies of pickleball, because they really move the goalposts a lot on these companies. They'll have a certain set of guidelines, and then a couple months later, they change the guidelines, and very often that company's invested millions of dollars, so obviously Carbon did not want to go through that. So they put what I would consider a very safe bet with the True Foam, the original Genesis True Foam, and now they have the Wave, the True Foam Wave, which is a more powerful version of the True Foam line. So I have all of them. Actually, I'll take that back. I've got the 1, the 2, and the 4. I opted out of the 3. Not my favorite shape of pickleball paddle. It's like a charcuterie board. Anyway, I'm very excited to try these. I have the 1 and the 4 I'll be trying tomorrow. I've hit the 2 already, and I really liked it, but I am trying some new weighting. I threw some, Carbon has their Slice, which is their, it's like a cap, an end cap that you put on the paddle that has weight on it. So this is for the first time. I've taken the Carbon 1, which is their elongated shape with the extended grip for the Tuies, and I weighted the handle, which I've never done before. Mircea swears by it. So what I've done is just put one of their weighted caps on the very end, and then a couple of layers, a couple of lines, I guess, a couple strips of their tape on the, the lengthwise on the paddle, and then basically reassembled everything. So I'm really excited to try that tomorrow morning. The reason I'm doing this show is because I've just watched many of the matches from the PPA Cincinnati, and I wanted to kind of piggyback on something that we've talked about. Oh, I forgot, by the way, carbonpickleball.com. If you guys want to get on the list, you can go to carbonpickleball.com/waves, WAVES, and you can get on the pre-order list for this particular paddle. They're launching, I want to say September 25th. So jump on there and try them. I think they're going to be great. The one time I've hit, this one paddle, the 2, it was definitely poppier, definitely something I had to get used to, but very excited to experiment with what I'm doing. So use the promo code 402P at checkout to get 10% off of your new Carbon Wave paddle. Anyway, so I'm watching the PPA, and I wanted to really highlight something that Mircea and I talked about on, if it wasn't the last episode, it was the episode before, which is when you watch the pros play, and I highly encourage you, go to YouTube. If you've never done this before, if you guys don't watch a lot of YouTube, matches, go to YouTube and look up the PPA. I want to say their YouTube is PPA Tour, and watch a couple of the doubles matches. And I really loved the one that was, who won? The Kawamotos versus the Annas. Anna Bright and Anna Lee Waters. And the Kawamotos, spoiler alert, they won the PPA Cincinnati. And they actually beat the Annas, which I think was either the first or second time in history they've ever been beaten. So that was kind of cool. But watch that match, and watch one of the men's matches, especially with Ben involved, Ben Johns. It's so apparent when they're on serve, and this is what I want to point this whole show out. When they are on serve, they are so not in a hurry to get to the non-volley zone. They serve, the return comes back, they hit their third, they judge, okay, is this third going to be high? Is it going to be low? And it's actually a really good time to point this out. Strategically, there's kind of two different options. If you've got one person on your team that's really good at driving the ball, and they have a nice third shot drive, well, you may identify a weakness on the other side. You may drive at a certain wing of a certain player. You might be driving only to the person who's coming up after the return, so they're in the middle of the transition zone. But if you happen to have somebody that has a really good drive, highlight that drive on your return. And you can do that in any number of ways. But if the person that has the good drive is typically on the left, and that ball comes into the middle kind of anywhere, they can really get a hold of it and hit a nice blazing third shot drive to whatever wing you guys have decided. And then the teammate, you in this case, or if you're the driver, you hang out back there. But the teammate can go up and put all kinds of pressure on that other team, depending on where. Like if you happen to know where that ball's going to go, right? If your partner says, okay, I'm going to drive to Bob's forehand as he's coming up, and you're on the right-hand side and your teammate's on the left and he says that. So, okay. And then if, you might say, if you get it and you're on the right-hand side, I want you to drive to the middle. Okay. Like, all right. So that's our plan. If I get it, I'm on the left-hand side, I'm driving to Bob's forehand, and Bob is the one who's coming up on return. Okay. So my teammate knows then if I'm going to hit that drive, they can come in diagonally, close all of those angles down, and put a ton of pressure on Bob. Bob has to now hit a really good shot, either straight back down the line, because you're there and you're crowding middle and you're ready to put that ball away. Or you're going to go the other way and you're going to hit that drive, and I'm going to now come in the middle and take that side of the court away, because now you're driving middle towards that person that's, dipping kind of in between the two, kicking a field goal, as I like to say. And we can put pressure on the other team that way by having a plan of where that ball is going to go. So that's one thing you see, certainly at the pro level. And this is something that Mircea talked about, because he and I don't want to say we argued about it, but when you've got such confidence that your partner is going to make the third, they're going to hit the ball over, it's going to go where you guys discussed, well, you can, bank on some angles being eliminated. And then you can also bank on, all right, if he hits the ball, or she hits the ball exactly where we've just discussed, here are the one or two places the return of that ball is probably going to go. You can make a pretty good guesstimate. So that's one way to do it. But the other part, and really kind of the point of this particular show, that might, by the way, might be something we call shake and bake. But the point of this particular show is, I think that the phrase you could use with each other is trust your defense. Trust your defense. If you feel like you have pretty sound footwork and you've done this slinky drill that we talked about, I want to say in the last episode, again, they kind of blend, or the one before, which is you've got like 3 different stations. One is like, maybe a foot or 2 inside the baseline. One is middle of the transition zone, and one's a couple feet behind the non-volley zone. If you're being fed balls there towards your feet and you're able to reset that ball somewhat consistently, and this is a drill to do over and over and over again. It's a really fun one as far as I'm concerned. People are firing shin-high balls or feet-level balls to you, and you're trying to get them to drop gently into the kitchen. if while you're warming up, you are capable of hitting those shots and they are soft and they are accurate, all that's doing is giving you an indication that you can be more patient as you make your way up from the baseline to the non-volley zone on serve. And I think you can do that together. I happen to play with a person, we've all done this, by the way. Everyone hears you got to get to the non-volley zone as soon as humanly possible, which ideally is the way to go because you're putting pressure on the opponents that way. It makes you on offense. It gives them less angles, et cetera, et cetera. They can't see your feet. However, when you're making your way up, the penalty we pay for moving through the ball, and that's what the last episode was about. If you are on the move, when that ball hits you towards the shins or the feet, you're introducing variable and you're adding way more difficulty to this shot to drop into the non-volley zone. If I'm moving forward and that ball short hops in front of my feet and my body is physically moving forward as I'm hitting this ball, the odds of me popping it up to the two people that are already sitting at the net are really high. Really high. And that's when you get in some somewhat significant trouble because you've moved through that. And now the ball is like, waist high, shoulder high for them, and they can just rip it at you, and that's the end of the point. If you watch what the pros do, they will hit that, let's say they'll hit their third, and maybe it's a little high. They will both be on generally the same plane within the court. Like they'll be on the same, I'll say vertical, I guess, where they're equal as they're coming up to the net. They're both kind of parallel to the net, making a line. And they'll read those balls like one person won't go up way before the others just because the person dropped. There's an art to recognition in this particular part of pickleball where if you or your partner happen to hit a great ball, then by all means, collapse on it. If you have a drop that's dropping, make sure you get down. This is not that dissimilar to when somebody hits you're in the middle of the transition zone, somebody hits a ball, there's a pop-up, and that ball's floating in the air, right? It's like 6 or 7 feet in the air. Sometimes I see people wait for that ball to drop, and then they hit it, or they wait for it to go down by their waist, or they even, God forbid, let it bounce, and now the ball's back to their, below their knees. When you have a ball that pops up like that, you have to collapse that space and take it high. It's a huge part of the advantage you have in pickleball. If you get the pop-up, take advantage of the pop-up. Do not let that pop-up get down to your, chest level before you hit it. Like, get it up there. Hit it up, the foot above your head if you can. Same thing goes for overheads, right? So I want you guys to really exercise, and that's really the name of this show, is patience. I want you to be so patient as you're making your way up to the non-volley zone. If it's a little high, batten down the hatches, bend your knees, get your paddle down, wait for that thing to come, because it's inevitably going to come. They're going to try to keep you back, right? I mean, if you put a sitting duck up there and they can really turn and rip on it, all right, that's going to happen, and maybe you're going to have to make some magical save. But if it's something that they can at least attack or take out of the air, where they can hit a roll to try to keep you deep, that's fine. Just stop. Be still. Wait for that thing to hit you. Hit a lovely drop, because you're nice and stable. You've split step. You have a very stable base. Your torso is firm. Your arm is firm in front of you. Your elbow's bent, but you're lovely stroking the ball, and all is well in the world. You're going to drop it back in, see what the read is, maybe get yourself up a couple of feet, and stop again. The thing that really stands out the most, I think, when you watch these pros play, and these are the best, right? They make the best thirds, they make the best fifths, they make the best sevenths, et cetera, but they're still high. They're not perfect. We don't all have to be perfect. We make so many unforced errors because we try to hit a perfect ball every time. It's worth trying just for S's and G's. Try to not be perfect one game. Hit a bunch of high thirds. Just see what it does. Because really often. You'd be surprised how, I mean, it depends on who you're playing, of course, but you'd be surprised how difficult this ball is to really put away, even when it's a good ball. It's still hitting a wiffle ball with a stick. You know what I mean? It's not like they can just tee off on it. So exercise patience. And I think if you guys go into a game and you say, look, for this particular game, especially if you have a partner you play with all the time, let's be really, really patient making our way up to the non-volley zone. It's like all you're doing is thinking about being dead ass stopped before they hit that ball and ready for that ball. Okay, boom, great. Now I've hit it. That one feels a little high. I'm only going to go like a couple of inches up, or I might not even. I might stay right where I am and really get ready for the next ball. Okay, oh, all right, I got this one pretty good. I'm going to give myself a couple feet and earn my way up to this net with patience. It looks so smooth. It's going to jump out at you. Think about how smooth these points are when you watch from serve all the way until they get into a dinking battle. And even the dinking battles, I'm watching some of these balls going, oh, I probably would have attacked that one. Oh, I would have attacked that one. Oh, yeah, I would have attacked that one. And those attacks would not have gone well. And ask me how I know. I have done this where I've been on court with 3 tier 1 senior pros. And in my little group, you know, I'm whatever. I'm a very decent player. I'm a hovering in the 5s, you know, versus the 4s. As a player, I play senior pro. I'm not like a complete beginner as I'm doing this stuff, right? But I got on court with these like tier 1 senior pro guys, and I didn't have any ammo whatsoever. Everything I would do against the normal people I play with did not work at all. Speed ups off the bounce, came back at 300 miles an hour. And I'm like, oh, all right. Like I was like making breakfast, waiting for that that shot. And I remember Mircea saying, yeah, that's not the shot. I was like, yeah, apparently not. I'm still tasting plastic from that one. But my point is that I think if we look at pickleball in general as something to be very patient and smooth, and if you only waited for balls that, and this is, by the way, we're playing percentage game here. Many of you have special talents where you might be able to speed up at your ankles, forehand or backhand. Do not eliminate those things from your game. By all means, pickleball is trending aggressive right now. It is a very aggressive game where people have to make their own offense and make their own hay. So do you, boo. You do you. But what I want to say is that the smoothness aspect to it, the grace and the patience that the pros show, I think is something very, very worth emulating. And I think if we all showed a little more patience, especially in the non-volley zone, especially in the transition zone, it seems to be, well, actually, it could be both. It could be the kitchen and transition zone. It seems to be one of the really big factors between that like 4-5 and 5-0 plus is the patience that people show while they're on the court. So if you're on the lower end of that spectrum, you know, we harp on this thing all the time, but if you're a 3-5 player and you think about this and all you said to your partner was, let's be really patient as we make our way up to the non-volley zone, and just focus on being totally stable, but not in a hurry. That net's not going anywhere. The opponents aren't going anywhere. We don't have to end this point right now. Let's just get up there and give ourselves a chance to be in the fight. That's the most important part of this whole thing. So that's going to be your lesson of the day, is patience. Jump on YouTube, PPA Tour, watch a couple matches, and just focus purely. Don't even worry about the points. Just focus on the team that's making their way to the non-volley zone, how they move, and how they are moving as they hit the ball. Then go out to your courts and go, oh, okay, I got this. I see what they're talking about. This doesn't have to be this frantic, I need to get up there by all means necessary. And I promise you, your games will feel better. You'll feel more solid as you hit the ball, and you'll get more dubs. And that's the important part. Thanks for listening, guys. Have yourselves a wonderful day on the pickleball court.
Thank you for listening to 4.0 to Pro. For more tips, find us on Instagram at 4.0 to Pro. If you have a pickleball question, submit it at picklehelp.com. Now, get out there and dominate. But don't forget to have fun.